Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA Bound For Glory 2013 recap / review show. Now, as you've seen a couple days ago, I put out my predictions. My name is George Coles, by the way, for Bound For Glory, and boy, as we go down, you'll see I took a beating on my predictions. But let's jump right into the ring. First up, we had the pre-match show. We had Bad Influence versus Chavo and Hernandez versus Joseph Park and Eric Young versus the Bromans. Four-way gauntlet match. The way I read them is the way they came in. Bromans pick up the surprising win. One I was wrong about, I picked Bad Influence to win. Nice match on the free show. Not really necessarily something that would sell me on it, but still okay match. Next up, the first match of the actual pay-per-view. We have the Ultimate X match with Chris Sabin, Austin Aries, Manic, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe. Chris Sabin picks up the win. Probably in, and again I was wrong on that, I had picked Samoa Joe to win. Probably in my opinion one of the least interesting Ultimate X matches that I've seen in a long time. There wasn't really anything special about this, and it didn't feel even like an Ultimate X. It just felt like a regular X match, but it was okay. Nothing great. Probably I was more hyped up in going into it with the people involved, especially Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe. Jeff Hardy's first entrance in the Ultimate X, I really expected more of a showcase of him. Next up, we have Bad Influence complaining about why they're not, that they should have been put into the Tag Team Championship match. Which, let me preface by saying, when Bad Influence got eliminated by Joseph Park and Eric Young, they injured Joseph Park and he had to be taken to the back. They do their spiel. EY comes out, says, "You guys probably shouldn't have done that. You probably might want to leave," which brings out Abyss. Hopefully this brings out the Monster Abyss character and we get rid of Joseph Park. It's run its course. It's no longer entertaining to us. Hopefully we get Abyss back, one of the TNA originals, one of the great characters in TNA history. Leading us right in from that, they segue right into the tag team match, the Bromans versus Storm and Gunner. Now I got this one half right. I got the fact that Storm and Gunner are going to lose wrong, but I picked Bad Influence to beat them, not the Bromans. Bromans pick up another surprising win. So far, title changes are 2 for 2. As you go forward, you'll see there's a common thread going through the show as well. A decent tag match. I'd probably say one of the best matches since the Bromans have been a team that they've had together. And I really like that they're using the Heart Attack now. Pretty decent altogether. Next we have the Kurt Angle Hall of Fame induction, where he declines the Hall of Fame, hinting at his recent issues, meaning his alcohol abuse problems. Says he's not going to take this until he's worthy of it. So in other words, just 10 minutes to waste on TV or pay-per-view at this point. And also, are they going to refund everybody that paid for the package that had the Hall of Fame dinner? Because technically they didn't have dinner with Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. Just saying, just pointing out, just thinking out of my brain, not trying to knock the product too much. I understand why he did it, and it fits the Kurt Angle character perfectly. After that, we see Ethan Carter III coming into the arena saying hi to his Aunt Dixie. She tells him she's going to have a match for him later on, and she's handpicked the opponent. So we'll see his debut a little bit later. Next match is one I actually got right. There's only 2 matches I got right on the whole card. We had Gail Kim versus Brooke Tessmacher, or just Brooke, formerly Brooke Tessmacher, versus ODB. Just as I said, Lady Tapa got into the match, got involved, helps Gail Kim win. I did predict that Gail Kim would benefit the most from Tapa interfering. However, I didn't say that they would be together. But I did pick Gail to win the match, so I'm taking this as a win. They're doing their version of Tamina Snuka and AJ Lee, I guess, with these two. But, you know, I said before this, if this helps to bring a more fluent and a better women's knockouts division, then I'm all for it. Third title match of the night, third title of change. And next up we have Bobby Roode versus Kurt Angle. Phenomenal, phenomenal match. By far, hands down, the match of the night. No other matches even close. There were two incidences in the match that subtract a little bit from it, where Brian Hebner's raising Roode's arm at one point, and he lets it go, and Roode hits the rope with his arm. It almost looked like Hebner placed his arm there, but little tiny thing. The ending was weird with the super Angle slam, and then Roode being the one that gets up and pins Angle, and Angle being injured. It almost makes me wonder if Angle was really injured or may have just knocked the sense out of him. I was very shocked that Bobby Roode picked up the win. I figured the combination of the Hall of Fame, they would give Kurt Angle this win. But Bobby Roode picks up the win. Again, what more can you say about Bobby Roode? I hope that this moves him into bigger and better things. Match of the night, weird ending, but the ending only detracted from it a little bit. Next up, we had Ethan Carter III versus Norm Furman. Now, I know you're all saying, who's Norm Furman? Nobody knows. He's actually a local indie wrestler that's wrestled in Championship Wrestling from Florida and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, as well as some other indies. I forget what his actual other ring name is at this point. It escapes me. Decent match. I could have lived with them moving his debut to the Thursday night show. If he's going to debut against the Jobber, move it to Thursday. If he would have debuted against the name wrestler, they should have kept it here. But, you know, that's a little bit of sour apples. He wins with the DDT, the face front DDT, the Bulldog DDT, whatever you're going to call it. Basically, the move that Dean Ambrose uses. Okay match, a nice debut for him. I think Ethan Carter III is probably going to be a really successful character. I thought he had a lot of promise when he was Derek Bateman, and I'm excited to see where he goes from it. It's like a friend of mine, Bob Delph, that you guys all know as Bunkhouse Buck from or Bunkhouse Bob. I always do that. From the IWX show. Check him out on Twitter at Bob_Delph. It's like he said, he harkens back to the days of Tully Blanchard, and I really could see it in him. I see that certain cockiness that Tully had, and that certain confidence that Tully Blanchard had, very much harkens back to his character, and I'm excited to see where they go from here with it. Now, next up, we had the match of two main event Mafia members, Sting versus Magnus. Magnus pulls out the surprising win. I really didn't think he would do it. He kind of shakes Sting's hand afterwards, but kind of in a cocky way. I figured that Sting would win to further Magnus turning heel, which seems to be the way they're going. But nice win for Magnus. I wouldn't say it was a career maker like they tried to make it out to be, but it was a nice win. Sting at this point, and I'm sorry to say it, folks, he just doesn't have it no more. Maybe if he was more of a reduced Undertaker's type schedule, we'd get to see more Sting great matches, but he can't even properly put on the Scorpion Deathlock at this point. He needs to either reduce the schedule to a way where he could put out quality matches each time, or just totally retire, or maybe just move into a backstage role and help out some of the younger guys. Now, last but not least, our world title match for the night, AJ Styles versus Bully Ray, no disqualification. Brutal, brutal match. We had the Aces and Eights try to get involved, Nux and Bischoff. Again, this was one I was actually right on. I picked AJ to win. I did think that the Aces and Eights would cause a split here with Nux and Bischoff either not helping Bully Ray or costing him. Dixie Carter comes out at one point to stop a pin. Bully does this thing where he tears up the ring apron and tears up the ring padding to get to the hardwood floor. AJ takes some nasty chops, does a 450 through a table when Bully moves, takes a nasty backdrop onto the wood flooring, onto the wood where the mat would have been. It was a brutal match. One really just a violent match altogether, and it was really good put together. I like the fact that AJ win. I'm a huge Bully Ray fan, don't get me wrong, I always will be. But I like AJ winning in this spot. I think AJ is a better world champion for this company moving forward than Bully Ray was. The angle, the Aces and Eights angle, has so far run its course that any good that Bully Ray does is weighed down by that poor angle. And just to recap, do a quick recap of the picks. We had Bromans wins the gauntlet match, Saban wins Ultimate X, Broman wins the tag title, Gail Kim wins the Knockouts title, Rude beats Angle, and Ethan Carter III wins his debut match, Magnus beats Sting, AJ Styles wins the world title. Every single title changes hands. It's a fresh start, palate cleanse, just as I had predicted on the show. I only got 2 of the matches right, but everybody lost their belts, and we have new champions going forward, which is exciting, gets more interest into the show. Really excited to see where they go with Bobby Roode, where they go with AJ Styles, Evan Carter, Ethan. I don't know why I want to call him Evan. Ethan Carter III, Abyss's character coming back. Maybe an Abyss Bully Ray feud again. I would love to see that again. Their feud before was amazing. Magnus stepping up storyline wise. Maybe he'll start getting some world title runs. Is Joe going to stay in the X division? There's a lot of interesting questions going forward. More good questions than bad, which is always good coming out of it. And before I leave, we're going to do our ratings. Now, if you've seen this show or any of our shows before, we have a scale of 1 to 5. 1's the worst, 5's the best. 1's a Jesse Goddard, 2's a Garrett Bischoff, 3 is a James Storm, 4 is a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Bobby Roode. I'm giving this show a 3, a James Storm. Very middle of the road. Jobber match in the pay-per-view, knocked it off. Sting vs. Magnus, not a great match. The Divas match was very predictable, very ho-hum. Bromans was their best match that they've had so far, but even the best piece of crap car is still a piece of crap car. Not that I'm saying they're bad, no. Although I do think Jesse's horrible, but it could go work well for them. And the Ultimate X did not live up to expectations at all. Rude and Angle and AJ Styles versus Bully Ray were by far the saving graces of the night. Rude and Angle had the wonky finish, so that knocked it down a bit. But overall, we're giving it a 3 at James Storm. Basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.